GettingPositiveKarmaNow.com presents Bhagavad Gita for All, lectures by Nalan K. Narula, recorded in front of a live audience.
भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन राधे 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 गोविंदा, भज मन हरे कृष्ण, भज मन हरे कृष्ण, कृष्ण 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 कृष्ण, भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन राधे गोविंदा, भज मन कृष्ण कन्हैया, भज मन कृष्ण कन्हैया, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। ओम ज्ञानं तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जन श्लाघय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 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 We had completed last time text 6 of chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter is about the divine and the demoniac nature, and the continuity is that in 16.6 Krishna says that Dvau bhutau sargau loke asmin deva asura evacha devi vistarasha prokta asuram partha me shrinu. In this world, there are only two kinds of created beings. One is the godly and the other is the demoniac. I have already explained to you at great length the divine qualities of the godly, O son of Pritha. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Today we have the seventh text. प्रवृत्तिम च निवृत्तिम च जनाना विदुर आसुरा न शौचम न अपि चाचारो न सत्यम तेषु विद्यते. Persons of the ungodly nature cannot understand the difference between right and wrong action, and they lack in exemplary behavior. Neither cleanliness nor a proper way of life nor truthfulness can be found in them. Pravrittim is the right action, nivrittim is wrongful action. And the demoniac, the asura, they do not know what is the difference between right and wrong. They are neither clean, nor do they have a proper way of life, achara. And truth, satyam, there isn't any. Na satyam tesu vidyate. In them there is no truthfulness of any kind. The demoniac do not care for, do not have Vedic knowledge or any higher knowledge. And if we examine the word pravritti in its depth, it means that you must engage in Vedically approved activities that are aimed at liberation. Whereas nivritti means those activities that lead to bondage to matter. The demoniac are neither clean internally or externally. They may not keep their bodies clean. That is the external aspect. Internally they are not clean. So internal cleansing takes place by chanting, following the principles, regulating what they eat. None of that is there. The external cleanliness is minimum. The demoniac indulge in all kinds of cruel activities, degraded activities like animal killing, blood sacrifice, torture. They worship ghosts, spirits, and other kinds of sense gratificatory activities keep them tied up to a material existence. And they are not truthful, neither to themselves nor to others. So there is a cheating tendency going on. There is a lack of truthfulness all round. In 16.8, Lord Krishna continues telling Arjuna, Asatyam apratishtham mete jagad ahur anishwaram aparaspar sambhutam kim anyat kam hetukam. The demoniac further say that the universe is without truth or foundation, and it is unreal. They also say that there is no originator or cause or purpose to the universe other than lust and sex desire. Their theory is that everything is meant for sex desire satisfaction. There is no God, there is no controller, there is no originator. They do not believe anything that they cannot experience with their own very limited senses of intelligence and the 5 other senses, the knowledge gathering senses. So if it is not within that zone, they don't believe it, they are not interested. They believe that any scripture is as good as any other and one can make up one's own rules, and you have your own system of faith and belief. If we look at why do they do that, additionally, if you look at the Vedanta Sutras, which were compiled by Vedvyas, and there is 4 sections to the Vedanta Sutras, also known as the Brahma Sutras. And these are aphorisms, very short, pithy statements that embody a lot of truth. And these are, it begins with Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to examine what is the absolute truth. And that is also the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Vedanta Sutras are telling us, if you look at 3.2.3, Maya matram katsanena anabhivyakta swarupatvat. So the world appears illusory because its nature is not fully manifest. The Brahma spiritual energy which is underlying the entire creation is not visible nor overtly manifest to anyone. And because of that, the illusion, the Maya illusion, grips all living entities. So if you would remember that the false ego elements, time element, the 5 Mahabhuta, Panchbhutas, they all are lying dormant in the Mahat Tattva, the state of dormancy is known as Pradhan, before manifesting, and all the 3 types of false egos are also there. And they are, because of that illusion of those false ego elements, they are not able to understand that Supreme Lord Krishna is manifesting and creating and destroying the world. So if you look at Lord Brahma, the creator, the secondary creator, the architect of the universe, there is only the 5th chapter available of the Brahma Sutras, of the Lord Brahma's statements, and that was in the Brahma Samhita. Incidentally, the Brahma Samhita was rediscovered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to South India on a pilgrimage, and there he discovered palm leaf manuscripts of the Brahma Samhita. So it is a very authentic source. And if you look at the first statement, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karan Karanam, that Krishna is the supreme God, also known as Govinda. Govinda means one who pleases the senses, and all the senses are attracted, and all the cows are also attracted to him. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body, and he is the origin of everything. He is the oldest living being, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So that is a very definitive statement. And if you go back to your studies of the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where you have the 10th and 11th text, which begins with Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sa Characharam Hetu Namani Konteya Jagat Viparivartate Avajananti Mama Mudha Manushim Tanum Ashritam Param Bhavam Ajanato Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram, that these people do not know that the whole material universe is working under my direction, and all moving, non-moving living entities are coming according to my order, the way I want the universe to manifest and unmanifest. And such fools, they are ignorant of my true transcendental nature, and they ridicule me thinking I am an ordinary human being like them. And they do not know that I am the Supreme Lord of all living entities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said many times that, what is the essential aspect of what a living entity must do. If you look at the Chaitanya Charitamrita, many places he has said that Jivera Swarupahaya Krishna Nityadas, that the living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna. So that is lost sight of because they do not have this kind of knowledge. And not having this kind of knowledge, the demoniac are indulging in all kinds of nonsensical activities. So when we look at the next text, the 16:9, Etam drishtim avastabhya nashtatmano alpabuddhaya prabhavanti ugra karmana kshayata jagato ahita. Etam drishtim avashtabhya, holding this view, nashta atmana. Nashta means destroyed, disconnected. Atmana means soul. So, if the person is disconnected from his soul consciousness of immortality, he is a nashta atma. He is destroyed because his mentality is destroyed. So, it is a very depraved understanding he is going to get according to Alpa Buddhaya, less intelligence. So there is a lack of intelligence. Prabhavanti, they flourish, and Ugra Karmana means horrible, fearsome activities. And Kshaya, destruction, Jagata, Ahita. Kshaya means destruction, Jagat, universe, and Ahita means unbeneficial. They are not beneficial to anyone. So 16:9 is holding this view, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and are of lesser intelligence, they become powerful and engage in cruel, inauspicious and fearsome activities meant to destroy the world. When these demoniacs justify that there is no cause for the universe, there is only sex desire and enjoyment aspect which has generated this universe. They can't explain how. They think about a Big Bang theory and that's it, that all the elements suddenly got together and there was sex desire was produced. It's a very weird philosophy which has no head, no foot, no intelligence, nothing. They reject the higher wisdom given in the Vedas and the scriptures. And because they have less intelligence, why? Because they are unable to see anything beyond their senses. They are focused on senses and examination of things according to how their senses give them that information. They are not interested in using intelligence, higher intelligence. So they are in illusion because they are limited senses. All your senses are limited, including the mind. We all make mistakes. We have tendency to be wrong. We have tendency to be in illusion. We see things as they are not. So there are many defects that we have. With this viewpoint, they gather some power and engage in cruel and destructive activities that are inauspicious for the world, leading to destruction all round. So desiring aspect is what is creating this problem, and the perversion of desire. When there is a disconnect from soul consciousness, this is becoming a lack of fulfillment of some sort, and it is perverted into a desire of for satisfaction, for enjoying the senses, and forgetting that Jivera Swarupahaya Krishna Nityadas. But the Das means servant is not the same as material servant. There is a very big difference between material servant and servant to Krishna. Krishna is not a slave owner or a slave driver. There is a reciprocity. So in the material world, all this degradation is creating things like animal killing, which leads to environmental degradation actually. But more than half the arable land in the world is being cultivated to feed animals, on which then people eat them or use them in some way or the other. Then they are making all these nuclear weapons and chemical weapons to destroy everyone, each other, in the name of protecting themselves. So all these activities create a lot of toxic side effects, and that is very harmful. So this is very appropriate, this shloka, that they are indulging in all kinds of activities which are meant for the destruction of the universe. This is an unfortunate situation, and they are creating this. In 16:8, Krishna is saying that they are creating all kinds of activities, and in 16:9 actually he is saying that they are creating all kinds of inauspicious, cruel, fearsome activities meant to destroy the world. So holding this view, the demoniac who are lost to themselves and are of lesser intelligence become powerful and engage in cruel, inauspicious and fearsome activities meant to destroy the world. 16:10 Kamam ashrite dushpuram dambh man mad anvita mohad grihit vasad grahan pravartante ashuchi vrata. Giving themselves up to fulfilling their insatiable desires for sense enjoyment, absorbed and intoxicated by conceit, pride and false prestige, overcome by delusion, the demoniac eagerly take to the impermanent and dedicate themselves to performing grave wrongdoings. Kamam ashrite tushpuram, desires that they have taken shelter of or given themselves up to. Dushpuram, insatiable. So it is already understood that these desires, the idea for fulfilling these or the drive to fulfill these is never going to be satisfied. And we see that. You attain or achieve something and there is no satisfaction. You have to have more, and there is no end to it. And in this drive and this hunger and greed for more, it is creating destruction for all of society. And then, because they are developing this great pride and false prestige and self-entitlement situation, which others around them also will promote, because everybody wants to be treated in the same prideful way. You give some false honor, and that is creating further intoxication. Mad anvita, intoxicated and absorbed by conceit. So this is intoxication. Mada means intoxicated, deranged, drunken. Mohat, deluded. Gritva, taking or accepting. Asat, the non-permanent. Grahan, things. Pravartante, they perform, they do. Ashuchi, unclean. Vrata, they are dedicated, they take a vow, we are going to do this. This is the whole purpose of life only. So the entire system is demoniac. It is geared in favor of the demoniac thinking. So from childhood, people are taught this. If you look back at your own background, this is what you have been brought up with. This is the demoniac nature. And the opposite is the non-demoniac nature, obviously. So arrogant self-entitlement, meat-eating, intoxication, drugs, adding further to the madanvita, a free sex life, anything goes anywhere, gambling. These are ashuchi, unclean activities. In Narad Pancharatra, which Sri Narad Muni has put down, says very, very clearly as instruction, sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tat parivartanam tat paratvena nirmalam hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So this is the key. The last sentence. Hrishikena hrishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Hrishik Isha. Hrishik Ena. Hrishik Isha means Krishna, the master of all living entities. Hrishikena, that all the senses. So when your senses are engaged in the service of Krishna, that is known as bhakti. This is the short definition of what bhakti is. So engage all your senses. So when you are a healer, that you are engaging your senses in the healing energies of Reiki and the KQ force, to do everything with that, you are indirectly engaging your senses in the service of Krishna. However, now that you have this knowledge, you can always internally consider that you are actually doing this to serve Krishna, and you will find that a lot of activities that you would have done earlier, even with the healing energy, you will hesitate. You will say, no, this is not right. That will save you and bring you to the path of better way of acting, better way of behaving, and so on. So you should consider this Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchite, engaging your senses in serving Krishna rather than engaging the senses to serve your desires is a better position, and that is somewhere that you will be happier. In the beginning stages of the healing modality, we say send healing to anything and everything, no problem. That is because the demoniac nature is there. We cannot certainly stop it. But if you transfer this lustfulness for anything, the desire for family relationships, by transferring everything to Krishna, that he is your family member and you can have an association with him in 5 different rasas or moods or mellows. They have been described as Shantya Ras, and then Dasya Ras, and Sakhya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and Madhurya Ras. So these means Shantya Ras means neutrality, a state of neutrality where you are favorable, you are even unknowingly chanting the Mahamantra, or you are chanting Krishna's name, or you are thinking that, there's a nice chap, very cute little blue looking boy playing with the cows and so on, and his friends. So that is a Shantaras. And Dasya is that you think of yourself as his servant. You develop a relationship in the service mode. This is considered to be the safest to start with. So initial start, Shantaras, then moving on to Dasya, and then you will discover whether your eternal relationship with him is as a friend, or as a parental relationship, or maybe his child even, or a conjugal loving relationship as in the Madhurya Ras. So all this is given in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. It starts with this is the beginning of it, that when one's desire to love Krishna in one particular relationship becomes intensified, this is known as love of Godhead. This is known as love of Krishna. And this transformation, of course, takes place when you consider him to be your family, because he is the eternal family. There are other family members are coming and going. They are letting you down and boosting you up at different points in time, but he is never going to be that variable. He is constantly a well-wisher. There is no other. There is no other like him who will constantly wish you well. So we'll just quickly review. We will pause here at 1610, and we will just review what we have studied, starting from 16.7. In fact, last time we had done 16.6, so we can see that if you refer to the 15th chapter, the last chapter we did on Purushottam Yoga, the 5th shlok, free from false prestige and the delusion of being a creator, free of faulty and unholy association, dedicated to spiritual knowledge and realization of the eternal self, free from the lust for the temporary material, and liberated from the duality known as happiness and distress. Those undeluded and surrendered souls reach that position which is the eternal shelter, which is the spiritual world and association with Krishna. So that has already been stated in the 15th chapter, and now we have the expansion of the opposite. What is the demoniac nature? So all that which is not what has just been stated is all demoniac nature. And in 16:7 and 8, 9, 10, Krishna is saying, persons of ungodly nature cannot understand the difference between right and wrong action because they are lacking in exemplary behavior. They themselves are not following anything. How are they expected to understand it? Neither cleanliness nor a proper way of life nor truthfulness can be found in them. So all the unclean things they are doing, they cannot touch the other without actually moving in that direction. 16:8 says, the demoniacs say that the universe is without truth or foundation and it is unreal, and that it has no originator or cause or purpose other than lust and sex desire, and there is no God, basically. There is no such thing as God, there is no such person. It is all coming from a big bang, and sex desire has generated this whole universe. A most absurd proposition. 16:9, holding this view, the demoniac who are lost to themselves because they are disconnected from their soul self and are of lesser intelligence become powerful and engage in cruel, inauspicious and fearsome activities meant to destroy the world, just creating trouble all round. And then in the 10th text, giving themselves up to fulfilling their insatiable desires for sense enjoyment, absorbed and intoxicated by conceit, pride and false prestige, overcome by delusion, the demoniac eagerly take to the impermanent and dedicate themselves to performing grave wrongdoings. So overall, what you are seeing today even is happening because of the demoniac nature. This demoniac nature is very much present even in those who are supposed to be our well-wishers, supposed to be our protectors, like the Kshatriyas who are supposed to be the protectors. They are politicians, people like the police force, all corrupt, highly corrupt, creating these kind of problems for society in general. So they gather power. How do they gather power? Because they are dividing, they are showing others this is what you should accumulate, this is desirable, and it is desirable to have these various things. And further on, next time we will understand this a little better, that the demoniac nature is how it actually speaks. So that we will study next time. So we pause here at text number 10 of the 16th chapter. And if there are any questions, I will take some questions now. Yes.
So the three modes of nature,
Yes.
ignorance, passion and goodness,
Yes.
they are like battling for supremacy.
Yes.
And so is this happening, demoniac and godly nature? Is this also like battling for supremacy?
Because the mode of goodness is sometimes more, which leads you towards the godliness, and then sometimes the mode of passion and ignorance are more, so that leads you on to the other side.
So this is not permanent.
No, this is a state of constant recycling. It's not that sometimes you become perfectly godly, you do not. Unless you work at it. There is some work involved, which means that you have to practice, you have to understand, you have to change your behavior. And if you look at the 5 principles of Reiki, you will find that, just for today I shall not anger aspect of it is part of the demoniac nature. So if you are free from anger, lust and desire, that is fantastic. That is the direction you are supposed to go. So greed and anger are two things that are generating the demoniac aspect, because in that drive to satisfy all these nonsensical activities are done.
So talking about anger, it is all situational. I mean, whatever situation we are into, we react accordingly.
Yeah. So the thing to do at that time, it is said even in the Vedanta Sutras, that everything that comes to you, if you consider, is sent to you by Krishna. Then where is the anger? Your parents have been sent to you by Krishna. Your brothers, sisters have been sent to you by Krishna. What you see in the world outside you is also sent to you by Krishna. It's sent to you how? Because this is my karma, he has sent to me, he has modified it in my favor and sent to me. So what is the anger? Who am I angry against? And what purpose does it serve? So gradually when you think like that, the anger aspect will disappear or dissipate. And this is an added understanding of how you can tackle anger. In fact, in this sutra that I quoted, the next couple of sutras talk about, and before that, this is about devotional service. The third adhyaya of the Vedanta Sutra is about devotional service. The fourth one is about the results of devotional service. It says that, for example, all dreams are not illusion. So whether it's external or internal, sometimes the dreams that you are dreaming, Krishna may create that for you in your dreams. If you dream that you have some riches, that you have got some assets, you don't have the karma to get it in the real world, but Krishna is creating for you in your dream, and you are not actually creating the dream as much as Krishna is. Because you are asleep, Krishna is not. Krishna is always awake. So he is giving you this input. So sometimes your dreams can be omens for good and bad things also. Not all dreams are considered to be illusory. So that is another aspect. So then the follow through for that is that even in the external world, what you see, in the internal world, everything is created by Krishna. Most certainly in the external world, everything is created by Krishna, and even what is happening to you is sent to you in that way. You may have created the grounds for it, but he is the organizing agency. So when you look at it in that perspective, the different ways to approach it, these are meant to challenge your thought process a little bit, the way that you look at things. So if this is coming to me from Krishna, what is the anger? Okay. So tolerant. Automatically there is tolerance. You may react, but you may calm down very quickly, or in future you may not react as much. When you are focused on this kind of understanding, your response nature changes. So it is not that there is good anger and bad anger. There is anger. And if the anger is coming because my wishes have been thwarted, or my desire to enjoy has been thwarted, my sense gratification is thwarted, again I should think to myself, what is going on? It focuses you on your nature, which is acting on a demoniac way, perhaps. We don't normally think of it as demoniac, but now you have this higher knowledge that this is actually all demoniac. This demoniac nature is there, even in people who are godly. In Kali Yuga, the divine and the demoniac nature coexist in the same body. In previous ages, the demons were visible outside. Now it is all internal also. So the demon is living inside also, and the godliness is also living inside. So which one are you focusing on? So whatever you feed will grow. If you feed the demon the demoniac qualities, the demon will grow. If you feed the godly qualities, the godliness will grow. So which wolf are you feeding? The demoniac wolf or the other one? So the wolf is hungry all the time. Senses are looking for gratification all the time. So if you engage your senses in the service of Krishna, everything is served. You are liking good food, offer to Krishna and have. Krishna doesn't accept certain kinds of foods. So automatically there is a elimination of foods which are of the demoniac nature, like meats, for example. Alcohol. You can't offer to Krishna and say, cheers, he is not accepting alcohol. So if you are eating everything as a prasadam, then it has to be offered through Reiki or through any other means, Brahminical means that you might have at your capability. And then you enjoy that as a reciprocal gesture from Krishna, having purified what you are eating. So similarly, when you are sending healing to activities, offering to Krishna, let Krishna's will be done, let Reiki's will be done. It means that their will, their desire, it is offered to them, and then I accept it back. If they don't want to, if Krishna doesn't want me to have it, it won't come. We have mentioned this many times. If Reiki thinks is not good for you, Reiki is Krishna's heart energy. It's not good for you, you won't get it. You can keep sending healing, and then the time will come when you will be neutral. You have sent enough healing to that desire, to that demoniac thinking perhaps even. That is no more now troubling you. It is not poking you to go and act in a particular way. So that is how the healing is working, and when you add this understanding, then you become immediately empowered to do a lot more. You remain on the path with clarity. There is no following by rote only, because if you do not understand, it is easy to fall off.
So, can we just recall and cancel all the desires that
You
we
can
had
try.
earlier and
You can try.
previous lifetimes,
You can try.
which are blocking our spiritual and this growth?
You can try, but then it is better that you are working. You see, it is not working automatically without your cooperation. You have to decide, I want to stop it. It's not that I will press a button and automatically these desires will go away and I am cool. No. How is that going to work for you? Because you will keep sending that healing and keep indulging in those desires. Then you are thinking, I've done a very great thing. I've sent healing, now it's healing's job to fix it. No, it is your job. You decide, okay, I don't want to drink, I don't want to eat meat, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. That is up to you. It's not that now it will automatically happen and I am under control of that, and if it didn't happen, then I'm meant to have it. That is demoniac. So all that circular thinking becomes very demoniac. You have to be very, very cautious. Yes.
I have a question. What is
Yes.
the difference between serving Lord Krishna and serving the servant of the servant of Lord Krishna?
Yes, because it is said that it is not possible to serve Krishna directly, so you serve his empowered servant or his authorized servant. It is better. The Krishna is pleased if you serve his servant. So if you are serving your god brothers and sisters or the spiritual master, that is much better. So that's why you must have this engagement of mutual service to each other, and that actually progresses you. So that is why the satsang is important, the community is important, interaction is important, seva. So service is the key to everything. Everything is a service industry actually. Forget the material classification. Everyone is serving somebody or some purpose or something. So there are services involved. Whether you are serving your senses, whether you are serving somebody else, whether you are serving a function, you are performing a function which serves a purpose, it is service. Okay? Anything else? Okay, so next time we will continue from 11, text 11 onwards of 16th chapter. We have completed up to 16:10. So we will conclude here for today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So people didn't have questions today because they are shocked or what? Hmm?
When you reflect
Most of
on
the
your
questions
inner
were
self
answered.
and you find with the outside world is a reflection of yourself,
Hmm.
then you question yourself.
Hmm. Okay, good.
Most of the questions were actually answered
Hmm.
without asking.
Okay. All right then. So we will see you next week then.
You've been listening to Nalan Kainarula on GettingPositiveKarmaNow.com.